This is just, yeah. So I think this is the link I've been using for everything. Oh, now we're
Okay.
recording this. But anyways, this is the link I've been using for everything. I guess everyone can do everything on it, which I guess is cool.
No,
Sure.
I can't record, for example.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. Anyways, yeah. So does anyone want to drive? I don't mind driving, but if someone feels groggy and wants to do some driving, we can all mob control the person, or if you want to drive, it's up to everybody.
I think Peyton's about to volunteer.
I know.
If I drive, it's going to be way too painful.
I'll drive, but when I say driving, I really just mean sharing your screen, and then we all kind of yell at you what to do. But I'll share my screen, and you guys should yell at me at what I should do.
Yeah.
Please, does anyone have any like jestodus issues that they're feeling particularly passionate about, or should I just pick one?
Pick.
I'll just pick one. Anything in the diffs folder.
If you anything in the diffs folder, are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yes, that's my entire project. And as soon as that's not in karma, I'll be a happy person.
Okay, I was gonna pick one of them. All right.
You don't have to. I'm being selfish.
No, but please do. Actually,
okay, all right. They're some of the most difficult ones.
Yes, there's one in there that's like 1,200 lines of code. If you want
to. Oh my gosh, let's do that one.
Pick that one.
Okay.
Maybe we find why my commit item it's transient as a transient failure on jest as well, which made me really, really, really sad.
Oh yes, let's do that one then. Is commit item already migrated, or you did that?
No, I did that, but it's failing in jest as well. I have an MR app to fix it, so maybe we try other ones and see if it's so it's failing in jest as well in the same way that the karma one. So
that's a really good takeaway of sometimes we feel like it's okay to write flaky stuff in jest, or like to do like non-best practices of where tests don't clean themselves up, because tests run in a sandbox environment in jest. Unlike karma, every test, they all share the same playground. They're all getting each other infected. In jest, each spec file runs in a playground, but not the individual test. And so we still need to be careful not to write flaky stuff even in jest. But I know that one was written in karma, and then now we've migrated it. I've seen us really try to abuse jest sandbox in some cases, but yeah, we can't. Even jest can be flaky. It's good to keep in mind. But you said you already have a fix for it.
Yeah, I mean, the MR is, I ran the pipeline 3-4 times and it didn't fail. It's in review. We will see.
Hey, that's a pretty good sample size.
I mean,
yeah, I know what you mean. So have you guys all seen? Have you all seen this this chart of how funny GitLab is? So when I look at this, I'm like, man, we're so close. But if you look at the number of karma files we have here, and you go back to the beginning, the number of karma files, it's like, oh, we haven't even moved 50% of them. So I don't mean to start off on a discouraging note, but I thought looking at this like closing of the gap, we were getting really close, but I think it's because our overall tests are growing. So the number of old karma tests percentage is decreasing. But there are some ways to mass move some tests. But let's start with some more difficult ones because we're recording this. And let's see what happens. So let's move like just a couple in the diffs folder and see what happens. So I'm gonna close this out. I'm gonna check out master. Oh, I'm probably on a branch doing something. Okay, not anything important. So. Okay. All right, we're running. Here we go. So let's check out this diffs folder. So spec, JavaScripts, diffs. You think we could move all the store stuff, maybe?
Be nice. I forget which one was very large.
We could do like a bash script to find the large. Oh my
any
god.
that use this diff mock data.
Yeah, here we go.
Success.
Anything that use diffs mock data. Okay. Yeah, let's just start moving some of these. Okay. So what I've been doing is copying it, moving it, and changing it from JavaScript to front end. And then we have a cool utility called jestodus-codemod. So in a different terminal, I've opened up jestodus-codemod. Let me see if I can open up the README here so you can check it out.
Does this live within the GitLab project, or is this just personal?
It is not. Yeah, this is in the front end playground.
Oh, okay.
So if you go to wherever we have our front end playground projects, you'll see this. And the README has instructions for setting it up. You have to install this globally. There's some little quirks with this. So if you haven't used this before, it's really nice, but there's some quirks with this. Such as it has to be run in the jestodus-codemod directory. And you have to pass this parser Babylon thing to it. This is because if you run it in the GitLab directory, if you run it in the GitLab directory, it uses the GitLab's node modules, which are incompatible with some of the runtime libraries used for this script. And if you don't pass parser Babylon to it, it has a really hard time finding our Babel config and can't really read the code really well. So those are the reasons why. But this is all you have to do is just cd to jestodus-codemod. You run it, parser Babylon, and then I go out to my GitLab world, and it was spec, front end, diffs, components, app spec, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, but that's the file. Sorry, that's the file I'm changing. My transform is in this directory is index. Sorry, that's what this -t is. What file is your code transformer? So now it's doing its thing. It says we're okay. I think we're okay.
All right. That's it. Easy. Done.
I don't think it's that easy.
Next file, Paul.
Let's see what happens. Yeah, so for instance, we're going to need to move some of these helpers. So let's go ahead and move a helper to resolve this. So it's probably, how should I do this? It's over in JavaScript. Gosh. I lost my place. Oh yeah, here we go. Create diff store. Let's open this up.
But maybe it's used.
Yeah, so the way, anytime there's a helper like this, we let jest be the single source of truth, and we create a little adapter here that just imports and exports it. So I will, let's copy this over to front end.
But do we really want to do this in the new test? Question, like this file, not in general, yes, but this thing that
in the app spec.
Store. Yeah, maybe we want, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, we might not need it, and you're right. It might be better for us to not use this at all. I try to move these things without touching them as much as I can. But if we end up not needing it, we end up not needing it. But I'm just gonna resolve it right now. Oh, did I do something wrong?
The folder, I think. No. Spec.
No, you're.
Oh, I'm in jestodus-codemod. Oh. That was frustrating. Okay, let me copy this. Okay. So now I have a new. I can open up, create diff store here. This would look like that. And this is going to look like export default from, and this is the, it looks ugly. It's an ugly import, but we don't really care about Karma anymore. Front end diffs, create diffs. So that's how we would update that. And then let's open up our diffs app spec. And let's run this, see what happens. All right. Okay. So something I've done in the past too to do this whole process a little faster is to move large quantities of these, run that transformer for like a whole, for specifying what directories I've done, or even just move these new ones just to an individual directory so it's easy for me to select them. And that transformer can run across multiple files. And sometimes that's all that's needed. Unfortunately, it's like 60% of the time that's all that's needed. 40% of the time it needs some sort of manual intervention. The fact that we're hanging up on this now makes me feel like we are using some set timeouts. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
what is your strategy when you move a folder? Do you then create an MR for each test or an MR for all of them?
I'll create an MR. If I had to rewrite a test, I'll put that in its own thing. If it was just, these are just trivial, I ran my program through it and maybe just updated a few lines, I'll do a whole folder. Yeah. And that's how the issues are created. And so, yeah, that's not a significant deal either. The one thing, so we're gonna pause real fast. You got me started talking about MRs. You want to watch out for, sometimes GitLab's diff isn't really helpful at communicating the real story here. And it can look like I've added a new test, which is using some really old practices. And so make sure you just review the diff before you pass it to a maintainer, because you'd want to make it really obvious of like, hey, we're not introducing any new technical debt. We're just moving this to Jest. Here's another issue for maybe cleaning it up. If it looked like you were adding a test that was really funky. But at the same time, also feel free to clean it up. All right.
Funky test.
We have lots of failures. I think they've all failed. So good news, it's probably something in like a before each, after each thing. So if they're all failing, it's better than like just 30 of them failing. But let's just run one of them and see if we can get some better insight.
This is already viewed as detailed. Wow.
Yeah. Let's see what's happening here. Mousetrap. This is when Justin comes in. Lay it on us, Justin.
This is not my fault.
Oh, okay. So Mousetrap is incompatible with Jest, is that right? Or have we?
Oh, geez. You know what? Look for, is there a keyboard spec already written?
Let's see.
If we're super lucky, I've already fixed this in the keyboard shortcut spec.
Keyboard navigator spec?
There you go. Yes.
So this is using Mousetrap.
It is.
So what's your beef here?
It's not imported here. Oh, no, there it is. Import Mousetrap, yeah.
Oh, but you're not, but it has to do with that default export. That's right. So here's I remember what we talked about this, Justin. So you notice here it's imported like this. And
yeah.
Later on, yes. We could dive in. Are you guys curious and want to unbox this mystery? Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I think Justin and I already know the
import Mousetrap, but not import Mousetrap from somewhere.
Yep. Because here's why. And here's another huge difference to remember when doing this. That's between Karma and Jest. So here's, I dived into the node modules mousetrap. We look at it and we see
some type of export at the bottom.
Yeah, and look what it does. It just exposes it to the global objects, and it might do some sort of AMD thing. It's not even doing fix or module.exports. If I look for module, there's no module.exports.
Gotcha.
So Webpack knows what to do. Jest does not use Webpack for performance reasons, which is a good thing, but it's a bad thing in that sometimes these things come up.
I can only imagine the rabbit hole to find this.
There was, yeah. There was it was one of those, if you ever hear me talk and you're like, man, Paul really doesn't trust third-party libraries, it's because most of the time rabbit holes lead to diving into node modules and unboxing some mystery.
Yeah, that's not a fun rabbit hole.
But I think we can just import this and call it a day. I think that's, because it writes it to global. Why is it so slow? Oh, but this is in diffs app itself. Oh no. This is in app.view. It's importing mousetrap like this. So can I just import it without that?
I don't recall. Pull up keyboard navigator again. See what it's doing. We should just be mimicking that instead of trying to figure this all out again.
This is what it's doing. It's saying global mousetrap.
Yeah.
I think that's what we have to do. The other option would be we create a jest mock for mousetrap so that I can import it, and anywhere it's imported, we can fix its kind of import. Do you want to try that out?
I'm hesitant.
Like we could fix all of these and add these global mousetraps everywhere, or we could try to create a jest mock for this and then fix it for everything.
Because you will have the same error every time you import one of those, right?
Yeah, I'm not eager to add a bunch of these global mousetrap stuff. So if no one gives me a thumbs down, I think we're going to explore creating a mock. And I've just recently done this, so it's not that scary.
Guys, actually, jest mocks are very good.
They're really easy. What were you going to say? Did you say something, Jackie?
No, let's do it. I'd like to do more of the mocking.
Yeah. I recently received some interesting feedback when I created this mock that I shouldn't have, but we weren't able to get it to work any other way. And the reason I shouldn't have, you'll notice we have another mocks folder. I don't really know what this is doing other than maybe we can mock ourselves on some things. I personally would not use this for mocking node stuff, and we need to address our documentation because it says something weird about that, because mocking node stuff works really nicely if we just use Jest's native mocking thing, which I don't think was realized at the time of creating some of this custom mock helper. But I'm going to go ahead and double down on my civil disobedience, and we're going to create another mock thing here because it's just really easy. And I know that it works. Okay, and let's, so this is gonna affect whenever I import mousetrap, it's gonna import this file instead. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna say there's a global mousetrap, and I'm gonna import, and I think if I import from here, the real mousetrap, yeah, I can just do this. I think that's all you gotta do. Maybe. I might have to do like a weird require actual thing, but I don't think so.
Otherwise it will give you a circular dependency. No, it worked.
It works. I think this may fix all the problems. I am a chronic optimist, so it might not fix all of our problems.
So that was a global mock, so that'll be for every single test?
And our production environment, which is huge too. So it's a global mock anytime I'm importing, it's going to import through that file first. And you saw how easy it was. It's really, don't get too happy with it. And there needs to probably be a really good reason for this. So maybe we should add a comment for why we had to do this. Mousetrap.
I don't understand the hostility against Jest mock though. That's new. I didn't stumble on it.
If you look up in our FE guide, what our guide is actually discouraging is you can drop this mocks folder anywhere, even in production code, even in our root directory, and people use that rather than like copying the folder path. I'll just drop it to where I want to actually do. I want to mock, like I could have put this somewhere in our application code, and that is a little problematic because it's nice to keep all our test code in one place. So that's what it's really aimed towards discouraging, because we had to. I don't know if this lets us mock from our application directory. So I would go ahead and use this mocks folder. I would go ahead and use this custom mocks folder for any kind of CE mocking you might need to do. But for doing node stuff, we should use Jest's out of the box thing because that's just really easy. And it doesn't require any custom thing at all. AMD, which Webpack understands, but Jest does not. Thankfully, it also writes to a global export, so we can BS6ify it. All right, but we only got one failing test. This is a huge one, and we just have one failing test left. I think we can now do like a whole bunch of these. Mark's current diff file based on currently highlighted. Oh, no, we have more than one. Okay. Here we go. Oh, it's because we're using set immediate. And component uses next tick, so we wait until that has finished. Can we just next tick ourselves?
Yeah.
Do you think we can just next tick here?
Well, let's try.
Yeah, let's try that. I'm going to go ahead and update this to do that. Next tick. And then
VM?
Yeah.
Probably need wrapper.vm.
The VM.
Oh, you're right. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you're right. Why is it so slow? This is like a really slow test.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe it's doing like a full mount too, or?
Yeah, what you're saying.
Oh no. Oh, this is another thing. Oh no. Why is that? Why is it?
You can mock is using 3JS, right? You can just mock it.
I think this is even worse. let's find out and see. Where are we getting this worker from?
Tree list.
Yeah.
Wow, that's wait.
No.
It says it's found in diffs app, right? So have you guys, or have you all? Sorry, have you all ever run into web worker stuff with Jest and Karma? Because that's what I'm thinking is going on here. Webpack has a really fancy web worker loader, which we can define a web worker and it creates this default export for it. And web workers are like asynchronous processes that can run on a separate thread in your browser and you send and post messages to it. Let's see if we can find one of our workers. Nope. Okay. Oh, we have like a diff worker, I guess. Yeah. So you end up writing this kind of thing, but it gets all packaged up into something I can send messages to. But when we have this _worker postfix, Webpack has a special loader which packs this up as a web worker export.
You can specify it.
Yeah, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, you can specify it actually. In the MR that I assigned to you for review, there I'm doing that.
Oh,
you can actually use we have a loader to load those, and then you can attach it to the URL. right?
Okay, but in Jest, we're not able to do anything. Are we able to do anything in Jest with this? Or
oh, right. Yeah, that was a karma part. Yeah, you're right. No.
This may be a silly question, but before the describe block, can you not just mock the tree list?
I think that's a good idea, but it's weird that tree worker and that it's thrown in diffs app. I feel like this error message is really weird. I'm surprised it's tree list, but I guess you're right. I guess it's got to be tree list. If we jump into tree list, is this loading up? It's probably loading this thing called file tree. No, this isn't doing its thing. Where is this like web worker thing? Oh, this app. I don't see it loading.
But are we doing mount or shallow mount on the test? Because I
Yeah,
think I
that's
read shallow.
That's a good question too. So let's unpack that. We are doing shallow mount.
So it can't be a component, right?
Well, tree worker is also used in actions.
Oh,
Paul, you have the best expressions.
yes.
Yeah, there you go, tree worker. But we mocked the store, right? We just imported the mocked store module.
Not if we're. Did we mock it, or are we just? We may have mocked the state, but bringing in the actual action.
Yeah, I think we're bringing in the actual module and stuff.
Yeah.
So let's. You guys feeling a little mocky? I think we can mock something.
Mock all
since it's a CE thing, I think we should do it in here. So let's explore that if you want to.
Sure.
Okay. Because there's no way. Okay. Yeah, here we are. Where's the tree worker? What do we actually? I'm trying to get its API so that we can. It exposes a class which has add event listener and terminate.
Post message.
Okay, so add event listener, terminate, post message. That's doable. Let's go to. I think I lost my place. I did. Oh man. Mocks. Okay. I want to create a new folder inside of CE for tree worker. Oh man. I want to see where is it? It's in diffs workers tree worker. Oh, I lost my place again. Okay. All right. New folder. Diffs workers. Oh, now wait. We could do something really interesting. We could go to our test setup. This sets up all of Jest stuff. Not our test setup. We could go to our Jest config. Yeah. Could add a rule to when anything has an underscore worker, we import the specific mock or something for that. That would be.
Then you will need, but don't you need the API for it, right?
Right, but we would just solve all the worker problems in one file. The downside would be, oh no, well, yeah, no, that might work. Just like here, you see when we import like some of these static files, we specify we're just going to import file mock. Do you want to do a worker mock?
So you're saying to leave like the tree worker unmocked, just mock the worker part that fails because of Jest, right? So the API of that stays the same.
Yeah, so it would look like this, and we would create like a worker mock. Yeah. What are your thoughts? We're not going to end here.
I'm just afraid if we're gonna have API collisions, like two workers that have the same API that are supposed to do two different things.
This would be the problem. So yeah, if you feel like that's something we need to be, it's better to mock each one individually. Let's mock each one individually. I'm good with that too. So just wanted to bring up that this was an option, but I agree it may not be the best option. I lost my place again. Okay, we're gonna jump there. Okay. Diffs workers, new file, tree worker, I guess is what we can do. Okay. And we're gonna export default a class tree worker mock. Does this all sound right to you all? And it has, oh my gosh, add event listener. It'd be great if we can add some spies to this, but let's just stub everything out. It has add event listener, terminate.
Post message.
Yeah, why is it upset?
Empty, because they're empty methods.
Hey, I should be able to put, oh, and that's all we have. Yeah, this is it, right? Why are you upset? Oh. All right. That was silly. Oh, wow. What's going on here?
And then the mock request.
Well, it's a good thing we caught this. Are we not using mock adapter at all?
Or maybe it's not the right URL.
Right. But we solved our tree worker problem, which is great. And I guess if the test ever needed to like detect how we're actually passing messages to this, that one could individually, now that's an interesting point. That one could individually create a mock to return a specific value and then create spies on that so we can detect some things. So we probably would have been fine having just one global worker mock like this, and just let, if an individual test needs to do some assertion on it, letting that individual one overwrite with something. But let's, for the sake of iteration, let's not overthink that part. And let's go back to our interesting problem here with app spec. All right, where is our test? Here we go. So we're not, do we have? Oh my gosh, is this because we're not mocking the store?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we should actually just mock the store here in this spec?
I don't know. If we mock the store, we may break all the ones that are working though, right?
Yeah, we'd have to end up readdressing a lot of these. Plus, we would potentially end up losing test coverage because we can't.
What if mock Axios?
Yeah, I'm hoping that we have that. We don't. Okay, yeah, let's just mock Axios. That's the thing to do here. When I say losing test coverage, I am not super optimistic about our test coverage in GitLab world. So whenever doing a move from Karma to Jest, if you change something from a full mount to a shallow mount, there's no guarantee that those individual units are well tested. So technically we could lose test coverage, which isn't great. It's just something I would rather not do. But let's use mock Axios mock adapter thing. I'm starting to, my brain's starting to get a little fried, so I'm don't quite remember. Oh, it told me. Oh man, I'm so glad when my computer tells me what to do.
Oh, IP's here.
Hey, IP.
Hey, looks like we're working on the MR diff specs.
Yeah, that's What do we usually call it? I'm totally blanking on how we normally do this. Do we usually call it mock adapter? I think so. Mock equals, I think I'm going to go ahead and, yeah. All right. So we create the one, we need to mock.restore it, and the after each. And then mock dot, I'm just going to throw it in there. On Git of this thing. I lost my quote. And we can figure out what to do. Do I have to specify a reply?
Yeah, just reply with a 200.
Okay.
And maybe an empty string or an empty JSON. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Do you think, what is this W?
It's white space, whether you want to enable white space or not.
It does have domain specific knowledge. Oh wait, this isn't working. Oh, because I didn't pass the Axios thing into it. Yeah, I'm really blanking today.
Oh yeah, on mock on your yeah.
Is it lib utils Axios utils? Now, because this mock adapter stuff is something that we do like in every spec, it might be interesting if we had like a global mock for handling this rather than doing it just like a global helper to rather than manually writing this every time.
I totally agree, because we should be mocking Axios every time anyways, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Because yeah, there's no point we ever don't want to mock. I pass Axios into there. It doesn't like it, everybody. Maybe it's because I'm specifying HTTP. I don't think that's the case, but maybe.
Maybe it's because of the endpoint, because technically it's a parameter, and I don't know how the Axios on get mock handles it.
Wow, well this one works.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, can I just do this? And would it still be okay?
I don't know if there's like a catch-all in the mock adapters.
Looks like our mocks URLs are test matching, not necessarily equality. Okay. All right, that one passed. Let's see, and I wonder if that's related to the other issues. Okay, I see 2. Oh man!
Oh man, you're so close.
Oh, I can feel it. Okay. Calls jump to file. Oh. It's failing because we have, I can now do this.
Yeah.
That might be it. I can now throw the mousetrap in there. Okay. Oh no, it's still sad. All right, maybe I should have looked at the error before just jumping ahead. Calls.
It's getting undefined.
Yeah, in line 476.
Is it relying on mousetrap actually? Yeah, we emptied it. So.
We emptied what?
What's the spy?
I know.
Jump to file.
Jump to file to be called. Oh, yeah. Mousetrap probably isn't. Are you saying that Mousetrap probably isn't going to work? Is that what we're?
No, I confused with the other mock that we did. Like we actually pass in the full mousetrap, right?
This is true, but maybe mousetrap isn't going to work because it's in a jest environment. So maybe but I thought we do mousetrap trigger in some of the other tests, right?
We do. Keyboard Navigator uses it.
Okay. Is that expect? Shouldn't we just call like to have been last called with? And maybe
you bring up a good point, Nico. Yeah, that's probably what we should be doing. I'm not entirely sure what is going on here. So yeah, let's just
So apparently it tries to trigger mousetrap for each mapping, right? And so it iterates over each mapping that we have defined, whatever those mappings are. I assume different keyboard shortcuts.
Okay, so one thing we can do is we can do our spy. We can do like mock. There's an actual API for this. This isn't the actual API.
Yeah.
We can clear it and then check if it's been called. Are you okay with doing that?
Yeah.
In the end, it wants to check if it has been called for everything. But to be honest, because we're checking for every mapping that it has been called, the check at the end is kind of duplicated.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because if it isn't called for one of those checks, it would fail anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. A way of doing this is to move this expectation outside the trigger. To just do all the triggers and then do all the expecting in one go. But I think all of this is failing. Rather than clearing this all, I think it's failing because that transformer doesn't transform some of our jest mocks really well. So I think it's just not even using the right API. So let's look at jest mock function stuff. There's really, in this mock functions, mock.calls, that gives you the args right away. So I don't know, some of this isn't migrating well. So I think all we need to do is that, and we might be okay.
And that done dot fail, is that even jest?
Mm-hmm. That one passed. Yeah, that was it.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm going to just not touch it. I would prefer, rather than having an expectation in a loop, I prefer somehow we build like an expectation array that we can then do one big expect whatever to equal this array of things that have happened.
Could we change it to a describe and then have a table?
Now that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Do you think we should
love our tables, right?
I love doing tables. Do you think we should do it?
That's my favorite jest trick you've taught me, Paul.
But you can do in the ET directly. Why do you need to describe around?
Yeah.
Right. You can do it each.
Let's do it. You want to go for it?
Yes, go for it. You got 10 minutes and one failing test. You can do it.
Oh man. Okay, you're right. Let's go for the overkill. So we're going to pass in all of our mapping keys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we're going to do, we're going to make a little pass in our string here. Okay. I usually make tables, but this one we're just going to do like an array. Do you remember like how to specify the variable?
So if you just specify a normal array, it actually makes it into a table. So it, if you just give a simple array into jest, it will think, there it is, table.
Got it.
And then you can just use the normal string. You can see that if you pass a 1D array of primitives internally, it will be mapped to a table.
Oh, wow. Okay, interesting. So, but this one is just an array, but I can do something like %s, right? Okay, we'll F'ify that one. All right, we'll return all this nonsense that we're doing. Okay, so we have our key.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to trigger the key. And then we expect our spy to have been called with mappings key.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it needs an array. I think that's some mock funkiness. But then before this, I'm just going to add this expectation of we expected not to have them called before we trigger. Cool. Let's see what happens. Did all these ones work? Did these all work?
It looks like, why did it run everything? I thought you were isolating that one test.
You know, I thought that too.
Does if it works with each?
Perhaps
Maybe
not.
if fit each doesn't work.
I thought it really did work. But yeah,
regardless, it looks like it worked anyways. So
I want to make sure we're making the right test here, though. Like, oh, it probably needs me to pass a string or something to this. I want to make sure we're not just passing garbage into here. Oh, encountered a declaration exception. Oh, that's because
yeah, it was still running when you saved it again.
Oh,
Just re-trigger. Like you're just plowing through. Come on, Jess, get on my level. Hurry up.
What does this mean? 1 skipped? 43 skipped?
Yeah.
Can you
Oh,
give it a name?
Mappings. Oh, it must be empty. Because mappings must be an empty array, so it's not creating anything. Where is mappings defined? Oh! Okay.
Did we write it each wrong?
Wait, real quick, how is this the only thing that is iterating over mappings? And is there only 2 keys in that array?
It's 4 keys, right?
Yeah, we need to
okay, there's brackets too.
Let's I think that's what's going on. So let's actually now create a nice little table.
Yeah,
I agree. This is not doing it.
That is
But object keys should work, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's being loaded, and I think it's because we're pulling this from a variable, and we can't use variables. I don't know. Oh,
it's
wait a second. Don't you need to close the bracket? So isn't it like it each, and then you need to close after object keys mappings, and then you basically,
yes.
If you look
And
at the
then you call
API
it
of
again.
test each, you need to close after you define the table and then call it.
You're right. Okay, so I always create tables with these. I've never really passed arrays to them.
yeah.
So it's interesting. But yeah, no, you're totally right. Good call. Pun intended. Sweet. Okay, that works.
Woo!
All right,
Nice.
I'm fine with this then.
I like this much better than the other thing we had there.
All right.
Is it the only place where we call mappings?
No, we have one other one I saw. And I think it's the other one that's failing too. No, it's not. But yeah, we have one other one, and I'm done with this test.
This is funny. So, IP, before you came in, I kind of threw this one at Paul as a joke because it's, I think, the largest test inside of the diffs folder. And Paul said, "Challenge accepted."
Oh yeah.
And yeah, fixing it makes a real difference.
Yeah. All right, we're done.
Okay, that was
This
pretty
call
good.
is over.
Yeah. So here's an opportunity for a transform. Or let me highlight what I'm doing here. Looks like our current jestodus-codemod is still leaving these .args around, which it really doesn't need to. So that could be an interesting addition to our jestodus-codemod.
Yeah.
Writing code mods is really easy. We could spend the last 5 minutes-ish of this kind of diving into that if you want to.
Totally.
Yeah.
Wow, beautiful.
All right. That
So-
worked out.
Looking at it, the docs args is just like used, I don't know, 10 times in the rest of the
Oh, really? And the rest of the code base?
comma code base.
Well, if you run into something that's used a little more, and you can justify code modding it, let me spend just if everyone's cool with it, let me just show what some of the transforms look like in this thing.
To be honest, I think it's always worth code modding it, because then you learn how to code mod.
That's a really interesting point.
Yeah. And if it takes less than 5 minutes to fix it now, you said there's 10 left in the code base. You know, it takes somebody 5 minutes to debug it 10 times. You've already recouped your investment. So
this is true. Yeah. No, this is a really good point too. So here's a really easy one. So this is the jestodus-codemod project. One thing to highlight here, here's some things that we can immediately improve here. Have you all ever seen a Jasmine test that uses this? It's not a highly promoted practice, but we have some tests that do this dot for like shared context variables. Jest doesn't support it. Even if it did, we shouldn't use it. This is a nice third-party transformer that transforms that, but it doesn't work unless it actually uses it. So I have it commented out, but if you're ever using this for some purpose that you actually want to transform that kind of module, uncomment this line and try it out. But rather than manipulating code, it would be really cool for me to run, when I was running, JS code shift, I think you have the option to pass options here, and I could maybe pass an option like with this or whatever. And if we could somehow figure out that flag and enable that transformer or not, that'd be cool. But we don't have to worry about that. But if you wanted to add a transformer, they all come from, here's where we're requiring all of our custom ones. We have a glorious amount of 2. One which renames set timeout to set immediate, I think. Or maybe, what is it doing here? Yeah, set timeout to set immediate. And so a code shift or a transformer is just going to look like this, where it exports a single function, takes in some file info. This could be a file name, I think. This is the JS Code Shift API that lets you, that gives you all of these abstract syntax tree helper functions and builders. These are those options that could be passed in, and this is like our root abstract syntax tree element. So what's going on here is in our root, we're finding all call expressions. We're seeing, is this an empty set timeout? And then we're replacing it with, we're going to create a set, this is set interval, but that's wrong. It's set immediate. So let's fix that. And we're replacing it with a set immediate call. And that's it. So there's also a really cool helper, and we should add this to the README. Let me see if I can find it. I can't find it. AS tree explorer. Yes, I think this is it. This is it. Yes. Have you ever seen this?
Oh, it's so cool.
It is really cool. So I can drop in whatever kind of code I want to understand and how to communicate in terms of the abstract syntax trees. Like I click on this, and I see, oh, here's an import decoration, and this is the API for that kind of thing. So it's really helpful. I use this just so I know what I'm looking for. And this should be in our README, so let's update that as well.
Paul, do you have time to actually add the args thing we were talking about right now, or do you have to jump off?
No, well, that's a good question. Let me end my screen. I'm not sharing. Let me check I have like 30 minutes.
Me too.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right, that works out. If you don't mind, though, let's update our README with that helper thing. Why do I need to specify what's a code mod? Yeah, let's add a section for I really want to contribute. I suggest checking out some of the existing transformers in this project. Also, use AST Explorer. Explorer. Did I spell that right? To help you. Okay. I can't think of it better. I can't type right now. All right.
Incredible.
All right.
Still better than my documentation.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll save this out. And then I'll create a MR to our little test project. I probably have master checked out. I think I can push to master, but let's not do that.
Yeah,
Fix.
lead by example here and use a branch.
Yeah, add some. Oh, fix a typo. Add some. Okay. Fix a typo.
Added help.
Add some. Why are you laughing at me?
I just think it's amazing.
All right. That's the classic over-engineering way to do things. Okay. I'll open this in another tab so I don't forget about it. All right. Let's do something more interesting. Let's add a mod, and we're talking about this .args thing. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go to.
Bless you.
Thank you. I checked out master. Yeah, that's fine. Or I'll check out a branch for this. Feed new args transformer. All right. So we want to call this remove args, I guess, or is that good? Or remove mock args?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Oh, but here's an interesting point. Before doing that, I think that's going to need to be done after these third parties do it. This Jasmine Globals does a whole lot, and that actually, I think, is creating the args. So I think we need to do these post-source transformers actually first, but I'm not sure if that's going to cause any issues. But let's just call it, instead of post-source transformers, let's just call it third-party transformers.
So that we don't have to call the other one post transformers?
Exactly. And I think these ones, it doesn't matter when we're doing them. So I think we can do this. I think we can do third-party transformers .concat and then reduce this. Does that all seem
sure?
Right? Oh wait, we can't do that. Because it looks like the API that we're using to call the actual transform is different. Don't ask me why. There's probably a reason why, but there's probably not a good reason why. So let's just do this bit first, and then we'll pass our source into here. So here is, we've called our third-party transformer first. Oh, this must be why.
You're overloading that source variable there, aren't you?
You know, I think you're right. But this must be why. Now I want to wrap it into this JS code shift API thing. I want to wrap our source, and this needs to be file info source. Yep. I think this is going to work. I should probably test all this before moving forward. Let's let me create a new branch here from the stuff we've just done. COB jestodus diffs app spec. Move diffs app spec. It's gonna be upset. Will be upset, but that's all right.
Yeah. Isn't it gonna gripe that you don't have a description because it's more than 30 lines of code?
Yeah, I'll do that before I create the MR or something. Just wanted to push this up real fast, and then let's. We could address this same one, which would be interesting. Or let's maybe find another one that was doing .args.
It'd be nice to run it against the same file just to see if we've actually addressed the problem.
Yep, that's a good idea. So let's do that. Let's check out master again. Let's copy. This time I'm just going to copy it. It's spec JavaScript.
Do you even need to copy it? Let's just run it straight against the Karma file directly because we don't care to test it. It's just...
That's a really good idea. Yep, let's do that. Okay, so here I am. Let's just see if we can run it from here. So JS code shift. I have to specify parser Babylon, source index, and then we're going to spec JavaScript diffs app spec. Is this right?
I think so, yeah.
It's a component, I think. It's diffs components.
Oh, sure.
Error.
He's upset. I knew something was going to be upset about this. Yes, because this is called transformers. Okay. It seems it ran, which is really encouraging.
Yes.
And you can see all the different changes it makes. It does a lot.
Yep. Oh, geez, yeah.
So this is the one that we had supplied where we're transforming set timeout to set immediate because set timeout is mocked.
Right.
Be really interesting to maybe make it do like wait for promises instead. That would require us adding an import and other things. And we could do all of that.
No, let's not do that. I just want to see how we fix the args thing right now.
Yep. So here we are. Oh, and it looks like the args are being previously used. So yeah, let's figure out how to do this. And this is great.
Okay.
For this. So let's.
Yeah, that's cool. So they're not being added; they're just not being removed.
Right. So let's go to here. I'm gonna drop in. Oh, what? Okay, sorry. Sometimes Vim doesn't copy to clipboard. Okay. I copied to clipboard. So here we are. We're doing lots of stuff. We've got lots of expressions going on, but boom. Wow, word nested. We're looking for an identifier called args inside of a member expression.
Yeah. Is there a way to copy that path? Probably not, right?
No.
That'd be really nice.
Yeah. What is this call expression? That's that whole call. What we really want to check is like, is it args after after a mock? It's kind of what I'm really hoping to see. Over here is mock. Here's that member expression.
Yeah.
There's one. And okay, then here's a member expression.
That's the one that you need, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's not letting me get it. It's not letting me go deeper. Okay. So let's just play around with it. Let's try it out. New file, remove mock args, ref. I'm going to copy from this one. Okay. So usually we're going to be trying to find something. And I think what might be cool is if we try to find this, do you think dot args is what we should be looking for? Maybe we should look for dot calls.
Yeah.
And then go from there. Or maybe we should look for dot mock and go from there.
Yeah, because you only care about .args if it's at the end of that .calls array, right?
Yeah, and I'm trying to see what's the main distinguisher here from we're trying to do this on a jest mock. And I think maybe this .mock we should look for and then see if we're doing args at the end of it. What do you think?
Search for both mock and calls, because that's you will always have that, right?
We'd always have mock.calls. Yeah. So I want to
and args, right?
Right. That's what I wanted to see is like, let's look for mock and then let's see, does it have calls? And then let's see, does it have .args? And then we'll pull that out and remove it. And we're going to try to remove this whole member expression thing. So yeah, let's try that out. I don't have, oh no, someone's been chatting on the thing.
Hello.
So let's go to, let's copy some of this stuff. So we're gonna find identifier expressions. Are they called, they're not called expressions, they're just identifiers. And we're going to look for, and so we get this whole object from it. We're gonna say, hey, is name equal to mock. Let's just make sure I'm gonna wanna test this a little bit. So let's see if we're doing the right thing. And maybe we can call, just for fun, we can call replace with, and let's just see what happens if we replace it with a new identifier. Just wanting to test this out.
Sure.
They call it mockies. And I would just return root, I guess.
Buddy.
All right, so let's undo all these. Let's run it. Okay. Oh, I'm not even referencing it. Sorry, everybody.
Comma.
Okay. Let's undo it. I could run it again, but
Yeah. Yeah, I like the idea of resetting that every time.
I don't see mockies.
No.
I'm disappointed. We're finding identifiers. Let's see if we actually, let's just do some logging now. And if this doesn't work, we could borrow some from some guidance from the third-party library that we're using here. Oh look, it said it was unmodified. That's cool. Oh look, here's a whole bunch.
Is it because it's nested?
That's what I was gonna say. Same question.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Why would that be? It looks like .name isn't really doing what I think it's doing.
Yeah.
Let's try to do some more logging. Okay, this is helpful.
Maybe it's value. Huh? No.
Node path. We're like getting a whole bunch of stuff back. Oh, we're getting a whole path. Oh, right. Oh, right. Path.node. Yes. This is what you have to look for. So your JS code shift, this API, it's nice, but like everything, it wraps stuff. So we get this wrapper, and to specify the actual node, we call node. So I could do x.node.name equals mock, I think. Let's see what happens there. Okay, there was a modification, and I bet it was, these are now mockies.
Nice.
right? Right. Now what we want to do is look through some parents. We want to say, here's a mock, and we want to see, do I have a parent? That's going to be, do I have two parents? I guess. Maybe I can.
Why are you looking for parents?
Child. No?
Yeah, don't you just want a child that is calls?
So this is what we've selected right now.
Yeah.
I could look for all member expressions that have like this identifier as the property. That would be interesting. So maybe we can update that a little bit. How are we going to get this args? It comes from this huge member expression all the way up here. So maybe we can look for a member expression that has the property.args, but then we can specify something special about the object. I think that's the way to do it. All right.
Okay.
In case you haven't realized, I'm figuring this out.
Yeah.
But let's see what it's supposed to look like. So here we are with this args, and yeah, we have this member expression here. Here we are. This does not have args. We're just going to pass that. It looks like what we're going to do is promote this object member expression is going to be our callers, whatever our parent is. We need to replace this thing with the object. That's the goal. So I think we can actually kind of do that right away. So let's find member expressions. We want to filter where x.node.property, and then you could do this way more gracefully than I'm about to do it, but like where name, I don't think I could even do this. Oh well, equals args. That's going to give us the right member expression. But then what we want to replace with x.node.object. We want to get rid of that bit. I think that's all we got to do, really. And we could really like be a little bit more explicit here with which one we're actually make sure we're not catching something that we should be catching. But I think this is the heart of what we want to do. So let's see what happens there. Oh, it doesn't like optional chaining.
Boo.
Oh man. Oh no, that's not right. Oh, look at that. Those args are completely gone.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So let's reset this file before we forget. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, see if you can make it more explicit, right? So
Yeah.
we don't want to delete all instances of .args everywhere because that might still be
right. So I'd want to make sure that if I look into my member expression, I want to make sure that the object has identifier mock and has identifier calls in it. That would be great.
right.
I'm pretty sure there's a way to like. Oh, and I think we can do this. Let's. All right.
Check the ancestry of it somehow.
Well, I think we can use find. I think what I can use find on this. So let's try that out. That's what when I first did this some months ago. I really liked JS-CodeShift's API way over just using raw Babel. You can use raw Babel for this, but JS-CodeShift is a lot more easier to understand. Let's do something like this. Let's say it has mock, and I think we could say x.find. And this isn't going to be perfect because it could be looking like inside of a call expression inside of that or whatever, but it's give us some sort of help. It's not going to be perfect, but there's some room for it. We want to find an identifier where I like using single variable names. Is mock.
Isn't it node c.node.name?
Oh yes, you're right. Yep, that's right.
Good job.
And then we'll say as args prop equals x.node.property.name. Okay. We could probably extract these out to functions or whatever.
Can you chain filter? Like do it into steps? And
Yeah.
Just a curiosity.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think you can. This definitely seems like it chains. So I think you can. I'm going to try it out this way. Let's see if it does what we expect it to do. Oh, man, that's what I was hoping wouldn't happen.
Ooh.
All right. We're going to have to explore JS CodeShift API. So this is developed by Facebook. Extensions, node, fine. Hey, you're supposed to work.
Maybe
Is
x.node.
You think so? Maybe. I guess that's probably it. Oh, no, that didn't work.
Yeah, is X a node that it's returning?
I bet it's not. No, it has to be because no, it's not a node. It's like a wrapper thing.
Closest scope.
Let's try this out. I wonder if I wrap this in using J. I wonder if it lets me do that.
jQuery style.
Yep. And it's jQuery styles. So I guess this creates the helper wrapper that. Oh, that's what it must mean when it says like extensions here. This gives me some of those extension stuffs.
To do.
Yeah, which is really nice. I could look up the parents. Like we could do a whole lot of stuff. All right, and we ran this, and it got rid of it. Yeah, the real test would be, does it get rid of it when I don't have a mock? And let's see if that works. So I'm gonna edit it.
Right.
I need to drop. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Nico.
Maybe Nico.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
I'm gonna edit it.
Yeah.
And we'll just add something silly like console log test.args. Does that seem like a good one?
Yeah, that should be good enough, right?
Right. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I have to run too. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Jackie. Thanks for calling. See you. Yeah, it seems like it didn't get rid of it. Oh, no, it did.
No.
Well, that's lame. Oh, because I'm not even testing like does this thing exist or not. I'm just filtering it. It's probably still truthy.
Oh yeah. What is filter returning?
I don't know. How do I do collections? Is a generic collection. It only has a generic API to access size. Is that a function? It just says
filter. It says returns a new collection containing the nodes, blah, blah.
It just says size. It is a function.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because theoretically it would be 0, right?
Yep. Or, yeah, hopefully it's what's going on. So let's try this again. And then do you mind if I create an MR and ping you on it, Justin, if you want to play around with it at all? Or
do what now?
Do you mind if I create an MR for it and I can ping you on it if you want to?
Sure, an MR for what?
For this thing that we're doing.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. It's still there.
So far, so good.
And the other ones are looking for mock.calls. They're still there.
Dang it.
That was lame.
That was lame. And I'm not sure I understand why.
All right.
Yeah, let's figure this out.
I wonder if it's a string.
What's that? Oh, it's 0?
Yeah.
That would be hilarious.
Oh, it's not finding it for anything. So it's
Yeah.
always false.
Yeah. And there should be some trues in there.
There should be, shouldn't there?
Maybe that JWrapper thing is, I don't even know. I don't even know.
Well, I'm disappointed. Oh well.
It's all right.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think we need to bang our heads on this any longer. But
These are the kind of problems that you end up wrestling.
Yeah.
But yeah, hey.
It's very informative though. It's good to know this is here.
Yeah, I wish there's a whole untapped, or it's slightly tapped, but I think there's a lot of improvements we could do in the industry to like help with AST parsing and stuff. Like how cool would it be to something I've been dreaming of would be if I can hit record, make a change on like a specific thing, and then it can like save that out into what was the actual AST change that I made here.
Right. Here's the AST diff. What kind of transforms would it take to make that possible?
Right. That would be really fancy. But anyways, well, I guess it's time to get to real work. But hey, thanks for hopping on, Justin, and thanks.
Absolutely.
I'm glad we moved one spec at a time.
That's a big one. I'm so pumped that you did abstract.
The good thing about the big ones is that we solved lots of shared problems with them. And hopefully we solve them in a way that everyone can benefit from it.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. Well, I'll catch you later, Justin. Have
See
a
you.
good one. Bye.
Bye.